if you believe we're all equal, I think you should be wiped off the planet. Yeah,
You think I should be wiped off the planet?
yeah.
All right, cool.
I think that people that believe that equality is something innately natural have been brainwashed. You know,
Yeah.
that's like saying an elephant is equal to a small little bug, or that a giraffe is equal to like a little tiny spider. You know,
Yeah, they're both animals.
yeah,
Both have blood running through them.
yeah, but they're not equal. You know,
I get what you mean.
yeah.
Me and you ain't equal.
If we were all equal, we'd all be the same height, same
Yeah, same
race.
weight, same color, same.
You know, but we're not.
So I guess yeah, the word equal cannot apply to everybody.
Yeah. So to have equality is nonsensical. You know,
I get what you mean. I still treat
because
people.
that would mean that equality would have to abide by the full spectrum, not just by race or color. You know,
But do you still treat people with everybody equally?
no,
No.
no.
So it matters what race they are, what religion they are, what weight they are,
All of that matters. All these factors have to be taken into account.
and then your brain sends it through an algorithm. I'm guessing, and then
I'm
you decide the way you treat them.
I'm not saying you have to be like directly racist. I'm not saying that you have to like be disrespectful. I'm just saying that you have to respect each other's indifference. You know,
Okay, that's good.
and if someone's indifferent from you, you have to be able to say, "Well, this person is different from me. You know, I don't belong there, so I'm
But
just gonna go over
everybody on
here."
this earth is different than me.
Yeah, you know. So you kind of just set yourself apart. You know, it's like I don't
Oh,
belong in
shut
this.
up.
It's like I don't belong in this area, so I'm just gonna leave these people alone.
No,
You
we
know.
don't wait for that. Fucking like,
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna auction you in my stream watch. Wait, who?
Equality is not measured by whether you treat someone right or not. Equality is measured by whether you believe people should have the right to be equal to one another, you know, and that entitles to having this fixed perspective of like, I'm going to categorize these people by their indifferences and treat them accordingly to those indifferences while not while not uh, overstepping the boundaries of their quality of life, you know. But that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to say that you're gonna treat everyone equally, but then you're categorizing each and every individual based on their biological genetics, you know. Because then the person that's saying that could be like, they could say, well, I have this perspective because I'm this person, or I'm this race, or I'm, you know, this tall, or whatever. So it's a fixed mindset to say that everyone deserves to be equally, have equal equality, you know. Like a land mammal isn't going to be jealous because it can't live in the ocean, you know. An aquatic animal isn't going to be jealous because they can't live on the land, you know. Yeah. So that's what I think about equality. I think it's a bunch of horseshit, you know. I think that if you preach equality, you're you're coming at it from a very hypocritical standpoint, and you know we're not all equal. We have to understand that we're not all of us are made equal. You know, you could turn it into something about race or you know culture, things like that. But on a deeper level, like on a non-surface level, you have to understand that we're not equal. You know, if human beings were all equal, and people always argue like, oh, we all bleed the same, or we all have the same needs, and it's like, yeah, anything could be said about the entire universe as a whole. When you talk about the entire universe as a whole, you know, you might think that that's the case.
What's up, Esther?
Fuck no.
Are you?
When you talk about the universe as an entire whole, like the moon is not going to be jealous that it can't be the sun. You know, the moon's not going to be like, why am I a moon and not the sun? And the sun's not going to be, why am I the sun and not the moon?
Same ugly guy. Same ugly guy.
You know, so that's what people have a problem with. I honestly don't want to get into it too much with that because it's going to piss me off, and I'm just going to keep on rambling about why I think the way that I think, why it is that it is the way that I think. So I'm just going to change the conversation to another topic. But I'm right. I'm right in my assessment. You know, I'm right. I don't believe that I'm wrong. You know, because I'm not. People might want to make you feel that you're wrong for going against a narrative that's been pushed for so long, and that narrative that's been pushed for so long, it can feel like it is true, you know, even though it correlates with nothing that's true, you know. And and when you if you tell a lie for so long, people start to believe that lie and they take it as truth, you know.
What's up,
Hey,
man? Oh, hey, Robbie, come on. I always battle this guy.
yeah,
You know, what's up?
I got you again. What's up, man?
I think it's fate, man. We're just meant to be together.
Yeah, that's it's pretty gay.
I'm okay, man. Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah. Anyways, dude.
I'm going to keep going, man, because I'm looking for, like, weirdos.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah,
Like I say.
cool. All right, let's see who we got next.
What up?
Hello there. Hi.
What up?
Where are you from? No? Okay, cool. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to my rambling real quick. I'm gonna leave that at that. Yeah, I'm not gonna say much more about that. Um, the only last thing that I would want to say about that is that if you believe in equality, then you're just psyching yourself up. You're just propping yourself up for failure. You know, you can see it. You go out into the world right now, and you'll see that equality is just an illusion. You know, because there will always be people who don't see the world that way. You know, and you can't control that. You can't control the way others' perspective or the perception of others, how their mind works. You know, in an equal earth, in an equal life, in an equal society, the people at the top, or the people that want to say that we should be all equal together, that we should have equal rights, that we should equality should be, you know, something to be celebrated. They can keep saying that all day long, but you will always find people out there who don't believe in that, you know. And if you're pushing this narrative where you want everyone to be equal, when you start pushing this narrative where you want equality for everyone, that also means changing the perspectives, the perceptions and minds of other people who don't believe in that. So if you can't even change that, how do you expect people to believe that we are all meant to be equal? You know, if you can't even do that simple thing, is to change someone's perception or perspective on like everyone being equal, then you already lost. You know, whatever you're preaching about equality, it no longer has substance. It no longer carries weight, because there will always be people out there who don't believe in that. You know, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna force those people to change their ideas about that? Like, no, you can't change their minds. You know, what you can do is you can throw them in jail. You could try to silence them, but then that goes against the equality narrative that you're pushing. You know, it goes against this narrative where you're saying, oh, we should all be tolerant, we should all be equal. But then you take those same people who don't view life in the same way, and you throw them in jail, or you make them, you force them into like isolation, or you just start to create a narrative for them. You know, it's like you think about it like this. If you don't, when people say you need to be tolerant about equality, about all of us being equal, those very same people then go and create chaos for those people that don't believe in that. And if you don't believe in that, you can't force someone to adopt your ideology. You know, no matter that's you're forcing yourself on something, on someone. You're forcing your ideas on someone, on somebody that doesn't want to be a part of that. You know, and when people say it's illegal to be oppressive, it's illegal to not think that we're all equal. That's another hypocrisy that you're pushing. You know, because then you're saying that you yourself are not tolerant of the narrative that you're pushing. So equality isn't something that people just adopt. You know, equality isn't something that you wake up one day and you're like, oh, I want to be equal now. No, like you're either born that way or you're not. You know, it's the same with like you're either born the way that you are, or you're born a different way. You know, so I'm a very smart person, and I know when people are trying to pull on my chain to try and make me believe something, and if I don't believe that, then people start like attacking me. They'll say, "Oh, this guy is he's a white supremacist. He's bigoted," and it's not about that. You know, it's not about me being a white supremacist. It's not about me being, leaning towards one category versus the other. You know, I'm white. My skin is white. You know, so for me, it's always going to be difficult for people who don't like that. You know, and in a diverse society where you have these different races and stuff, of course it's going to piss them off if I don't believe in whatever they believe in. You know, and that's the thing, is that they don't want to tolerate me. You know, it's like we're tolerant except for those people, because they're white and they're not tolerant of others. You know, and that's why I say, like, you know, you can tolerate so much to the point where you're like, okay, this is kind of absurd. This is kind of, it's not working. You know, I'm sorry, I'm doing battles right now. But what I'm trying to say is that you cannot let people attack you because you don't follow along with their ideology. You know, if they want to preach diversity, if they want to preach equality, that's on them. But when you start to enforce that, when you start to push that narrative, when you start to force people and make others tolerate whatever ideology you come up with in your mind, then that's hypocritical. That's them directly attacking you as a person. You know. So are you gonna let yourself be persuaded into submission from a totalitarian perspective. You know, are you gonna let people outcast you, isolate you because of a narrative that's being pushed, and it's not something that you believe in? You know, it's the same thing with religion. You if you're pushing one religion, nobody's gonna want to believe in just one religion, you know. And yeah, you know, so you can't force people to believe that equality is good, you know. You can't force people to believe that we're all equal, you know. Some people might believe it, some people might not. Some people will disagree with it, some people will not. But to personally attack that person for their belief, you know, you're basically preaching against your own ideology. You know, equality means that you're tolerant of everyone equally. You know, and then that begs the question: what is equality? What does it actually mean? You know, does it mean that you have to be tolerant of others? Does it mean that you have to oppress people in order for you to push your narrative? Like, what is equality? You know, in this in its truest essence, in its truest form, if you can categorize, if you can describe equality without pushing a narrative and thinking about it from a logical perspective, you know, then you just have to sit there with the question, like, what is equality? You know, am I equal? You know, because I don't have cancer and this person has cancer, you know, does that make us unequal? You know, because this person is handicapped and I'm not handicapped, does that make us unequal? You know, like, what is equality? What is diversity? Like, these questions need to be asked, because it's not, you're not going from a biased perspective. You know, you're thinking logically, you're assessing to describe something that you may not even know what it means, and you just say that it means this because that's what people have been saying the entire time, you know. So yeah, this went out longer than I wanted to, and pretty tired. It's 12. You know, I don't. I'm still doing battles, by the way. It's just that I'm getting people that are not, like, you know. Anyways, let's see what we get next. See if we get someone good. Hi there. What's up? Hello there. Where are you from? Oh, okay. Cool. I like your shirt. What does it say? Oh, I just like the design on it. Yeah. What is that? Is that barbed wire on it? Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. Then no, I don't like it. Hey, what kind of tattoo is that? Yeah. Oh, okay. You're still working on filling it in? God damn, dude, 9 hours? Fuck. You ever thought about just, pulling it through and just go the full 9 hours? Yeah. So are you gonna do you plan on doing it all at once or just like oh, okay. Oh. Oh, that was 9 hours. Oh shit, dude. Fuck. Damn. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you were to get it like on your rib cage, like for 9 hours, then that'd be a different story. Yeah. Or like on your collarbone. You know. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey man, it was nice talking with you. Take care. Stay safe. Yeah. Peace. Yeah, 9 hours is a long time. Super long. Too long if you ask me. Fuck no. Okay. Well, I'm pretty tired, so I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna go back inside and hang out for a bit. Then I'm gonna come back outside and exercise for a bit. Whoa. That was a huge chain reaction, that wasn't it? Okay. Sorry about that. Alright, so I'm gonna go back inside. I'm gonna hang out for a bit because I have a long day ahead of me today. I thank you all for joining the stream. It's always fun to have people join. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that, and yeah, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. So, goodbye for now. Take care. Yeah. Cool. All right.